Hello everyone and welcome back to some Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. Today we're going to be going over Milteo Abysscraft. Milteo was a deck that was really strong a couple expansions ago and then sort of fell out of popularity. And we're seeing a resurgence recently with this deck here. So Milteo is the key and titular card, which has a couple effects, but the really important one is going to be the Super Evolve Crest. The crest having followers evolve when you play them. So they evolve instantly on play, they lose their fanfare and enhance, but they're really strong just right off the rip. You use that to combo with storm followers. So you've got Dogged One, which importantly only gets storm when an enemy follower super evolves while it's in your hand. So keep that in mind, it's not your follower, it's your opponent's follower. As well as Ghost Dodger giving you a Ghost, which is a 1/1 token that, if it evolves, is obviously a 3/3. And then you've got Sage, which is a 2/3 storm for 4, which ignores wards, so it's a good way to get through people. It also contains Basaraga, which maintains board state after it dies, because when it dies, it resummons itself. So very solid card to push a little bit further in terms of lethal. Another really big important part of this deck that I think is fantastic is that it is dirt cheap. It only contains the one legendary in Milteo, so you can make this if you're newer to the game. You can also make this if you just want to try the deck out, because it's relatively cheap to make, and hell, you might even have some old Milteos laying around. So let's go ahead and hop into some games here. Afterwards, we'll talk about sort of how the deck fared, as well as what I think about it. So let's roll into it. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into the game here. It looks like our first deck is going to be Swordcraft, so we're going to be up against Sword. More than likely, this will be the standard rally list, potentially the more Evo style list that I covered recently, but it could also be a more aggro variant. We'll see pretty quickly what our opponent is looking to do. So as for the mulligan here at the top, none of this is stuff we really want to keep. Maybe the Ghost Dodger. We will keep the Ghost Dodger just in case we don't get anything better. All in all, not an amazing hand, but an okay one. We don't have anything on 1, which sucks, but we do have a 2/3, as well as some removal and some just general cards to play. So our opponent is going to get a 2/2 with Rush. That is fine. This will trade into it, as well as give us a Bat. So not the end of the world. We'd of course rather be able to push forward with 2 damage, but not going to happen in this case. That's okay. We do get a Castle of Entwining here. We do know that he pulled another 2/2, so we don't want to, like, say, play the Bat and play Castle to buff it. I will play Castle to draw, though. In general, you do want to draw first before you play anything else. It's unlikely we were going to play anything with the Bat, but we need to give it a try. He's actually not going to play his 2/2 unless he taps for it, which he does not. That is not a huge deal for us. Let's see here. What are we thinking? Probably a Screaming and Loathing, so if we're going to do that, we are going to go ahead and buff our Bat. We'll use Screaming and Loathing to deal 4, and then I will go ahead and draw a follower, because we're kind of looking for Milteo. There he is, beautiful. Alright, so while we haven't managed to get any damage on him, he also hasn't managed to get any damage on us, so this is definitely starting to set up for the OTK, the more aggro style of the deck, rather, or the less aggro style of the deck, the more control style of the deck, because we just haven't been able to really get anything done in these early turns. So we're going to go ahead and play Ghost Dodger, evolve it, remove the biggest threat off the board. We are not going to overdraw, so we're not going to play anything, I don't think. We could play the Ghost to clear one of the 1/1s, but because we are off his Caesar turn by quite a bit, we're not going to worry about that too much. We're probably going to play Basaraga next turn, maybe Hark if he plays something like really wide, but I think this is okay. He is going to go wide, very wide actually, so we are probably going to have to play Hark here. I'm okay with that. Not great for us, but not the worst case scenario for us either, because that will, while it won't clear, it'll get rid of a good chunk of his board, which I think is fine. And then we're going to do something really weird. We're going to Evo the Ghost, just to go face. Even though he's got a potential Caesar turn next turn, we don't really care about that because we have our Milteo up. So if these two get buffed by 2/3, it's fine. Or 1/3, something like that. Yeah. So there comes the Caesar. We do have Milteo to counter. We'll be able to get rid of his entire board. We'll take a little bit of damage, but it is what it is. Alright, we'll play Milteo. Now remember, he will spawn 2 cards on his own, so those 2 need to die prior to the trade. So we're just going to go ahead and throw these into one of his cards. And then we're going to Super Evo. So what that's going to do is that's going to guarantee his board gets cleared, because this Milteo only clears 5 things. Or excuse me, 6 things. So, still same story. Guarantees him to clear. Alrighty. So our opponent is going to Nell Claw, that's fine. We're going to get some heals next turn. We are starting to look at a good position. That's mildly annoying, but fine. We will play Bat. That will get through here. Now Susie does not clear the 6-5, and we would really like to get that 6-5 off the board. I'm trying to think if there's a way to do that realistically. No, I don't think there is. So with that being said, we're gonna Susie. Oh, Susie wouldn't even matter because the fanfare doesn't go off. So that's fine. Just trade there. I think we Ghost Dodger. There's a good shot we die here. We have to leave his 6-5 up. That ended up being a pretty good play for him, setting up all the wards. Metra is fine on its own. Bunny and Baron's annoying because I'm guessing that's active and we're going to take 4. Yep. But good news is we do not die, which was really the main concern here. And we might genuinely be able to kill him next turn.
I want to go home. Give me a hug.
Just crush them.
Owie, you big meanie.
Ow. Okay. So Lilith to clear here.
This will be a night you won't forget. So cute.
Not all is
Then we're gonna
lost.
double Ghost.
You did this to me. You did this to me.
Bam, bam, and then double dodge one to finish him off. And that is the power of this deck. It can really quickly put out a ton of damage. Our opponent was in a really good position, but we were able to survive just enough that we were able to put out enough damage to finish him off. So really good representation of how this game stacks up to, or how this deck stacks up to a more aggressive style of sword, where he really tried to push as much damage as possible. And even had that really good play in the middle with the ward where we weren't able to finish him, but 1 HP is all you need in Shadowverse to win the game, and that's where we ended up at, and our opponent hit 0. Alright, moving into the next game here, it looks like we are going to be up against Swordcraft again. So I'm imagining this game is going to play out very similar to the last game, but our opponent might be running something different. He could be a little more aggressive, he could be running, like, I actually ran into a loot sword on the ladder the other day, so it could theoretically be that. So, it is definitely worth playing out. We've got a bunch of 1-drops and our castle. I think that is perfectly fine to hold on to. I'm going to go ahead and keep all of that, and we'll roll from there. Our opponent, because of that crest, makes me pretty confident that he is just going to be running sort of standard sword, the version we just saw in our last game. So I'm not too worried about it. He's going to be able to get a little bit of damage here early because we are just vomiting out 1-drops, but that's okay. We are not going to tap because we'd like to tap on turn 5 for the Basaraga and then turn 6 for Milteo. That does mean that we're going to be taking some hits here in the early game. We're going to see if he chooses to trade or if he's going to hit me in the face with the 2-1. He is going to go for the face with the 2-1. That is objectively the correct decision from him. So we are going to trade here.
My oath is fulfilled.
And what do I want to do? Do I want to play one of the bats? Yes, I do. Alrighty, next turn is definitely the scariest turn for us. We do have an Evo we can use, which is good. And we got a lot of healing with bats, so as long as we don't die, we're in okay shape. Now the difference to last game is we are going second, which means that Milteo is going to come out a little bit sooner. Which means it's not going to be the free counter to the Cesar that we may want. So we are going to go ahead and draw a little bit here, just to try and pull that Milteo. The second copy, excuse me. Because that would be able to get rid of the Caesars, no problem. Alright, next turn is our Vasaraga turn. We will almost certainly be playing that. Only situation we won't is if he like goes wide and we draw into the board wipe. That would be the only situation Vasaraga doesn't hit the board next turn.
We're gonna get.
Alright, he's going to go Bunny and Baron here. That is a problem. It's actually going to be really, really annoying for us to deal with.
It's lights out.
Because we don't really have a lot of board wipes available in our hand right now, other than the top end of Milteo. So we are not going to be able to clear him. It's just not going to happen. So our hope here is the 6/6 goes into the 3/2, because then we'll be able to clear it with Vasaraga. If that doesn't happen, then we need to start looking at other options. Okay, so he chooses not to, which means we are going to take 6 next turn. I don't see a strong way around that. I would rather get rid of the 1.
Let's go.
Well, be damned.
Alright, we're on his turn 6. Turn 6 for Sword isn't particularly strong. There's not a lot of big turn 6 swings. His big turns are 7 and 8 for Caesar or Noelle, and then 8 is Mars / Erica. So we're not horribly worried about him managing to do a lot of damage on his turn 6. So that's why we felt comfortable enough playing out something a little bit weaker. So he's going to use Bunny and Baron 2, which positive side means he's not going to get the 4 damage from the rally effect from a lot of them. But he is going to have a pretty gnarly board. So we're very thankful that we have our Milteo. Ow! That hurt. So let's go ahead and drop out our Milteo.
In moderation.
Now we kill 6 things, which means we want 1 thing dead from our side of the board. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Ride the beat.
Because what this means is we're hoping that Vasaraga doesn't die. Oh, never mind, excuse me, I probably shouldn't have done it that way. I should have left both cards up, that way Vasaraga had the potential to not die. But, is what it is. We are now on his Caesar turn, which is scary, scary, scary. We are off the Mars turn, which is good, because we have a lot of bats, so we're going to heal a lot next turn. Okay, we're fine with this.
To the shores of victory.
This is actually perfectly fine for us. We're not upset at this at all. Caesar actually would have been mildly more scary, so he's going to use this to clear probably the 2/3. Yep, and then he'll trade in. But we're going to heal up a ton from Ghosty Ghosts. Or not Ghosty Ghosts, Bats. Batsy Bats. So we're going to play out a few bats, heal up. Outside of the danger zone, which is 8.
Flatlining.
Now, that being said, we are going to potentially take 2 from this, and if we play something else that's on the board that can die, we could take an additional damage from the Super Evo. So we are going to go ahead and play out 1 more bat,
Not all is
and then we're going to
lost.
Ghost Dodger.
You gotta go.
So we don't have any of our endgame combo pieces, so we just have to play this style, which is more passive,
Let's go.
while we're looking to draw them. Because next turn we can drop a bunch of castles and draw a bunch of cards, especially if Vasaraga can stay on the board in its super evolved shape, which it looks like it probably will here, which is excellent.
Bye-bye now.
And we have even more bats as needed. So this deck definitely can heal out like crazy. We don't love anything we've got here. So we could give 1/1 to Vasaraga. We could do that 4 times. So that would make it 9. And then we'll get 3 from the Ghost, which is only 12. So it's not good enough. So we will go ahead and draw. I think that is probably going to be fine. I'm going to trade here. I probably should have drawn first because we were pretty sure we were going to. Dogged 1 is unfortunately not very good in this situation because it will not get Storm because we didn't draw it until after we used all of our Super Evos. I probably shouldn't have Super Evo'd the Vasaraga. Let's go to Screaming and Loathing. 4 to a random, and we'll draw Follower.
Silence.
Hey, to the shores of victory.
Then we'll just play out the last bat here. Put ourselves at full HP.
Let's go.
Kraken revive. So that's the downside of me Super Evoing the Vasaraga. I should not have done that. I should have saved the last Super Evo for the point in time where I had Dog Bloods in hands. But it is what it is. It's where we're at. So he's playing his second Caesar. He will probably Super Evo that to clear the Super Evolved Basaraga.
Your prize.
When in doubt,
Yep, that's exactly what he's going to do. So he is now also out of Super Evolves. That's why we went for the draw on the, basically any of my potential plays. We still have some options here. We're going to go ahead and draw one. We pull the Milteo. That is excellent. That will clear.
In moderation.
Love lives on.
We're going to take 2 from our Basaraga dying, but that's fine. We have 1 ghost in hand. We don't have the potential to get any more, which sucks, from our current hand. But it is what it is. We have 3 damage from Tyrannical Fists, so we're getting very close to potential lethal.
The pulse.
That's good for us.
shores of victory.
Any play that he makes that isn't clearing this 5/5 is pushing him closer to dying.
Commence this
Okay,
concerto.
Gildari is fine. It's got its free Evo, but we're only going to take 1 because he can't play anything else. Oh, okay, so he's going to just drop his 2/2 to hit me for a little bit extra damage. We're cool with that. On Isage, is that enough? That'll be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, that is lethal.
Warmest memories are of home.
We'll go ahead and over lethal just a bit for fun. Oh, nope, he doesn't even need to see it. He knows he's dead. So, another really solid game that shows even when you don't draw like all the crazy dogged ones, you have paths to get through and pass to victory. So, really solid game. Even though it is against the exact same deck that we just played against, I think it highlights a different view of the deck, so I'm definitely going to keep this in. Alrighty, moving to the next game here. It looks like we're going to be up against Havencraft. There we go. So we got a new deck we're playing against. Now there are a few different flavors of Haven right now. There is the pure Amulet Haven. There's the Storm Amulet Haven. And then there is the Super Evo Haven. Super Evo's the most common and the most popular. So probably looking to keep both of these Worlds of Games here because we want to push for draw. Because we're probably not going to kill him early. And of course I say that, and we got pure Amulet Haven with the crest. So I haven't played against a lot of this in the current state of the meta, and definitely not with this deck. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to play out. We do have a decent starting hand, which is nice. But the one thing about this deck is it's very good at healing and dealing with your aggression. So this deck can be aggressive, or it can be a more passive list. So we are going to go ahead and play it as a more aggressive list to start here, because we just drew really aggressive. But we're definitely looking more towards the late game combo, rather than just wearing him down quickly. Because he's going to have a lot of board clears, like Scripture of Salvation, Sublime Tome to Scripture of Salvation off by 2/1s, just like that. And he's also going to heal from it. So that early game aggression just doesn't work as well into what he's doing. He plays a second Scripture. A little annoying, but it is what it is. We'll just drop a couple things. This isn't a super useful card in this situation, but the Ghost is, because we want to start stacking those potential plays. So we're perfectly fine just sort of throwing this to the wolves, per se. If it dies, it dies. We do have 2 Susies in hand, which is nice. We'll be able to buff up our dogged one. Dogged one will be the target for that, unless we draw an Anasage, then Anasage will be the target. We do also have Highwire to deal with some of the more aggressive threats that he could play. Nothing hitting the board, though, here. He doesn't even have any creatures potentially coming out, so we're happy enough with this. We will probably Susie here. Nope, we will Basaraga, I lied.
My body is
Now we could Evo this. We'd rather save it for the Susie though, so we're not going to. The Evo for the Susie. So he's up to 5 crests. This is a 9-cost card, Lionthought, so we don't have to worry about this hitting the board anytime in the near future. So even if he gets those crests early, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. He needs 10 to activate the ability, and then he can't get that card that comes from it until the end of his turn when he plays Lycanthroth. So we are happy enough with this. Not a big deal. All right. We are going to Castle of Entwining. We are going to Susie. We're going to Evo the Susie for a dog one. And we're going to crack him the teeth for 3. I think that is a perfectly fine turn. Dog 1 is already up to a 6-1. We'll get it 3 more attack with our second Susie here. I would love to have a Milteo in hand right now. That's the one thing that we're currently missing. We didn't draw Milteo, and we didn't draw any of our potential tech for Milteo, outside of the draw potential from Castle Entwining. So there's definitely an argument to be made for having done a more passive play with the castle and drawing. So he's just trying to clear us here with his Dark Dimensions. He will clear us, but we'll still have Asaraga. So, not the end of the world. Alright, what do we got here? We got a Tyrannical Fists on the draw. I don't think we're going to play that more than likely. We're just going to play out our second copy of Susie, buff up Dog 1 again. And then we'll play Lilith.
Then we can be together.
Let's go.
We will go face with Vasaraga. Do I use Tyrannical Fists here? He's gonna heal here, at least. I think I would rather keep it for combo turn. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and draw. So we should have made this decision earlier, so we would draw. Lovely, second Tyrannical Fists. That is 6 damage there. That is 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12, 15. He's dead if he doesn't super heal here soon. So that's how quickly this damage can stack up. So that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are very quick and close to killing. Because we also have the Vasaraga to account for in terms of damage. So that's an extra 2 damage to him.
Like so.
Yeah, he is dead as of right now to what I have. Plus the 2 from Vasaraga. 10. Yeah. So we'll see if he's able to overheal or set up like a big ward or something is his hope right now. He's on 7 mana. There's a few things he could do. He could play the legendary with the Super Evo Pots and Amulet. Yeah, this one. This will heal him back to full, because he'll just hit the Scripture. So I don't think I have 20 damage. 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, I have 19 damage currently. So actually, we do still have lethal. Because we have 9, 10, 11, 12 from the Super Evo, 13 from this, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So yeah, we've got him, right? We've got enough mana for this, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. That'll wrap it up.
I'll win for sure. I can keep this up all day. I'm first staying positive.
Let's go.
Perfect, and that's an example of the combo potential of the deck. We were able to set up, and even though he was at 19 HP, we were just able to, because we'd been setting up so much, kill him straight out. And if we'd had one more turn, more than likely we could have potentially pulled a little bit of extra damage out of there, and we could have killed him from 20. So this deck has a lot of OTK potential as the game goes on, even without Milteo. Keep that in mind, I didn't play Milteo once that game, and you can still win. Pretty handily, mind you. So, really solid game. Very happy with that. Alrighty, moving into the next game here. It looks like we are up against Dragoncraft. Dragoncraft is ramp. All variants of Dragoncraft include some heavy ramp. So, gone are the days of like combo dragon with the more thinny style of gameplay. So nowadays they just want to ramp up to big threats. Now the big threats are the difference. It could be their Intimidate threats, or it can be your standard Burnite Urns package. So starting with this hand here, I'd rather have a little bit more early game, so we're going to go ahead and drop this. I think it's also probably the play to drop Tyrannical as well. I don't think it's needed, so I'd rather have other things, which in this case is Lilith. So we'll go ahead and slap down a Lilith here. We do have Milteo in hand to start, which is fantastic. We'd love to see that. Let's see what our opponent does. He does nothing. We have 3 Castles of Entwining here. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and use this first one to buff. I think that is perfectly fine. We can push a little bit more damage in the early stations of the game and forces our opponent to want to react, which, of course, he does. So we'll go ahead and play out the bat. We'll go ahead and play out the second castle. We'll draw a card with it this time, though. We're not going to play aggressive if we're not going to get any damage from it. Alright, that's a solid draw here. I've noticed a lot of Dragon players attacking this card. I think it is a very solid card. I think we're just going to Hark it down. I don't think Hark is going to be useful in most cases. And then we're just going to draw again. We could have buffed and pushed a little bit more damage, but I think that card draw is more important. We drew into another Hark, so if he does have some sort of weird Intimidate package, we have a way to deal with that. So off the rip, he's got 2 of these, so he's going to be getting really big versions of this very, very quickly, which is not a thing we like. Looking at our hand here, we don't have a target for Susie, so Susie is not a card we're going to play. Because of that, what are our other options? We don't have a lot, so we're going to Hark.
Sure, I'll sing for you.
And then we have a choice between playing a 2-1 with Rush or dealing 3 damage to him. Or drawing. I think we're going to go ahead and draw. Another Tyrannical. Okay, so we've got a lot of damage in hand here. We've got 6 damage from the hand, which is nice. I would really like to see any of the cards that are going to allow me to... Damn, that is not good. Let's draw. That are going to allow me to storm. So whether that be Dogged 1 or... Jesus. Can I draw again? Is that reasonable? I think we have to. I really wish I'd had that on the last draw. Susie does clear, but we don't get the biggest benefit from Susie, which is unfortunate. We'll go ahead and put it on the Rush card. Then at least it has some value, even if it's not the best value. Man, he has had pretty good draws this game, unfortunately. We are going to Milteo, which is nice, but we are not happy with our rest of our hand here. We drew all of our early game and none of our mid-late game, so... Alright. Let's go ahead and kill everything with that. We don't have a Basaraga, we don't have anything. And he's already got a real big boy with his Drosh. So this is definitely not the situation we want to be in. If you don't have those Storm Followers, you can't do what we've seen in the previous games, which is come out of the hand and do just a ton of damage. So he's going to be able to do that instead. He's going to be able to play some Storm Followers, some big stuff, and come out of the hand and do a ton of damage. So Anasage is a nice draw. Unfortunately, we are past the point where we can get that active with anything beyond the Evo. So we are going to play for heals here, which means we are going to play the Heal Lilith.
Then we can be together.
Because that gives us a bat, which is going to hit forward. We're going to trade with the bat. Now we can trade one more time. So we're going to Lilith, rather... we could Lulumi. I think that's fine, actually. I think we'll Lulumi.
My melody's sweeter than blood. Yeah.
To get us another bat
Ride
here.
the beat.
Alright, that is fine. Now we're just going to double basic one. Alright, right now we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. Not the best. So we will probably see a Burn Knight here, would be my guess. He could play something else, but I would imagine it's going to be a Burn Knight at 9. It could be an Intimidate follower too. Dragonute Pathfinder. I don't know that I've seen that card basically ever. So I'm cool enough with that. Cool, he's got a Super Evolve left. That can target the Dog one. Love to see that. So we're just going to play some cards that don't matter here. And try and set ourselves up as best as possible, because Dogged 1 gets Storm when your opponent has a Super Evo, so that's what he's going to do here.
I'll cut you down.
So he's at 17. Can we kill him? Because we are going to be real low. So we're at 5. What do we have for damage? We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We have 15 damage across not enough mana. So we are pretty dead. We'll go ahead and play some stuff.
For sure.
Just for funsies.
My warmest memories are of home.
Just to show how much damage we almost had. Yeah. So we would have been able to put him down to 5. So close, but unfortunately, close doesn't matter.
I'm done here.
So our opponent was able to deal with me enough in the mid game and get to his late game that it didn't really matter what we had. We had all those early game 1-drops to facilitate healing, to deal with surviving, but surviving isn't enough if you don't have the important cards you need after you survive. And unfortunately, we just didn't have what we needed. Alrighty, and that is going to be Milteo Abysscraft. As you can see, this deck has massive potential. It can drop somebody down from 19, as you saw in one of the games, or it can even drop somebody down from 20 if you draw just a little bit better than I did. But we also saw that last game a little bit more of the weaknesses of the deck. If you don't draw those important and integral Storm followers like Dog One, or like the ghosts from your Ghost Dodgers, then it can very quickly fall into a little bit less of a powerful deck and just fall over and die. One of the big benefits of this deck, I did mention in the intro, is its cost though. Because it only contains 1 legendary in Milteo, it is going to be relatively cheap to make. And I think that in combination with its actual playstyle is just a huge benefit for new players. You're able to see how players react to some of the early game plays you make. You're going to be able to see how players react to the mid-game push. And more importantly than that, you're going to be able to sort of begin dealing with the lethal puzzle that is Shadowverse, seeing how to count up and figure out if you have enough to kill your opponent. So I think this deck is fantastic and definitely worth giving a shot. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions about this deck, or any decks you really want me to see me play or cover, feel free to leave a comment below. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. It really helps me out and shows that you guys enjoy these specific decks. So thanks again, and have a fantastic rest of your day.